All right, very good. Awesome. Um, so I first wanted to ask sort of just a specific question about today.
Mhm.
So this is the 15th Four Peaks cleanup, correct?
Correct. It's the 15th annual Four Peaks Cleanup and Restoration event. So we have a bunch of volunteers out here helping us pick up trash from the areas and the trails from the main parking lot. And then we also have some volunteers that are removing invasive grasses that choke out native grasses and help contribute to fires. So we're pulling those invasive grasses out. And then we're throwing seed balls into the desert with native seeds that'll bring pollinators in once those pop up.
Yeah. So could you talk a little bit about your general mission as well? More as a general question, like how did you get started? What's the process look like
Sure.
to today?
Natural Restoration's mission is to remove trash and graffiti from outdoor recreation and wilderness areas, revitalize natural areas through replantings. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
And then we also enrich the lives of military veterans and community members. And so our main focus is getting the community out into areas like these and seeing the damage that's being done with trash and getting them out to help us clean it up and see why it's so important to keep these places clean and open. And then we also operate and manage what we call a dedicated restoration team. And we contract military veterans and we go out and do restorations that are kind of above and beyond what we could ask of volunteers. And we do graffiti removal, we do replanting work, and additional trash work that goes above and beyond what we do with volunteers. We got our start, my husband and I started Natural Restorations in 2015. We got started because we just love Arizona and we got tired of seeing trash everywhere we'd go. And we were hearing people talking about the solution was to close areas down. And that really didn't sit right with us because our love of nature came from our experiences out in it when we were kids. And if we keep people out of nature, how are they ever going to love it and learn to love it and what we need to do to take care of it? And so we decided to do more than just complain about it, and we decided we were going to launch Natural Restorations. And about the same time that we were thinking about launching Natural Restorations, my husband's best friend from high school came back from serving in the U.S. Army over in the Middle East, and he came back with PTSD and traumatic brain injury, was really struggling to reintegrate into civilian society. And so his dad asked my husband to take him out camping, target shooting, just kind of detox in the desert. And on that trip, they started talking about the future. And his friend was so focused on getting back into the war, that was the only thing that he could really see for his future. And my husband Justin was telling him about his ideas for natural restorations, and his friend kind of laughed at him like, oh, you want to be a garbage man, good for you, I'm going to go back and do the war. And a storm blew up some trash into their camping area. And so the next morning when they were packing up, their dads had taught them, leave it better than you found it. And so they started picking up trash. And about 10 minutes in, his friend was like, is this what you're talking about doing with this company? And my husband said, yeah, in a nutshell, yes. And he said, I want to do this. I'm not thinking about the things that I'm trying to numb myself from what I've done overseas. I'm just thinking at the task at hand, like, ooh, there's a piece of trash, I'm going to pick it up, and I feel good that I'm making a difference. And so my husband came home that day and said, you know what, not only are we going to do natural restorations, we're going to give back to veterans. We're going to give them an opportunity to get out in nature, to restore nature, to be around other people who have gone through similar experiences as them. And so this past Friday, we finished our 180th dedicated restoration team project with our team. We've provided over 22,000 hours of work in nature to vets. Today happens to be our 127th volunteer cleanup. So we're just really excited to be out here and have people supporting our mission.
Awesome. And how would you say this your organization and what you do has changed over at least since you started over the past few years?
It's changed significantly. In 2015, it was just my husband and I, and we were hosting volunteer events. And our first volunteer event was 10 people, including myself and my husband, and we removed almost 6 tons of trash, which is 12,000 pounds. So we proved very early on that you can do a lot with a little. It just is your heart and drive to go get it done. But in 2017, we were able to launch our first dedicated restoration team project. That's when we also launched our graffiti removal project. Our team has removed over 48,000 square feet of graffiti from rocks and boulders across Arizona. And then in 2020, we added a replanting program. We started replanting trees at the Lower Salt River in a cactus fire burn scar. And then in 2020, out here at Four Peaks, over 193,000 acres burned in the 2020 bushfire. over 80,000 saguaros were lost. And when a saguaro burns, it's not something that just comes back. It won't be replaced in our lifetime. And so we started a replanting program out here. We work with construction companies and private property owners and take saguaros that we're going to be bulldozed, and we bring them out here and give them new life in a burn scar where they're desperately needed. And so we've kind of come full circle with all of our restoration work, adding the replanting part, but it's really something that resonates with volunteers and our team to be able to bring life to an area that's been burned and know that you're making an impact that is going to be seen long after you're gone from here, just is really impactful for everybody.